Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we untangle corporate speak. Today we're diving into the Calamos long-short equity and dynamic income trust report. And trust me, there's less dynamic income and more dynamic. Questions? Did somebody say short squeeze waiting to happen? Let's find out before we start. If you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed and let's get started. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below for you to join. This report gives us a snapshot of how the fund is doing, what it holds, and most importantly, where your money is going if you're invested. It covers the period from November of last year to April of this year. First, let's take a look at the fund's financials. We can see their assets and liabilities. Digging into the assets, we see accrued interest and dividends around $2 million. That is a sign that the fund's investments are generating income. Then when it comes to liabilities, we see almost $118 million in securities sold short, which indicates a big short position and a bet that some stocks are going down. We can also see that this fund is handing out about 14 cents per share annually, which is pretty key for investors looking for that steady income stream. There's almost 20 million shares outstanding, which means there are a lot of eyes closely scrutinizing how well this fund is working. Moving along to the statements of operations, we have income minus expenses. They took away a bit less than 23k of dividends for taxes withheld. Looking at how the investment portfolio is made up, we can see that it includes an exchange traded purchased options. In fact, they even used forward foreign currency contracts a few times, which are basically bets on how currencies will move. Diving a bit deeper, the statements of changes in net assets show where the money goes and how it gets replenished. For instance, they are taking quite a hit with almost 23 million in distributions to shareholders, but nothing to show here through what could be proceeds or reinvestments. Finally, when it comes to cash flow, we see that it is 4 million with the custodian. Okay, so what does all this mean? The filing shows that the fund experienced a net investment loss in its operations. This means that the fund's expenses outstripped its revenue from investments, which does not spell out a good sign for future investors. For also, this fund relies pretty heavily on short selling to generate revenue, which can be risky for investors in fact, their performance wasn't looking too good, so let's explore some of those risks that the Calamos team themselves point out. Skipping forward down, there's a section for additional fund information which brings in the Delaware Statutory Trust Act and talks about control share acquisitions, which basically says, hey, it is hard to take control of this fund. When breaking down expenses, the funds have a lot of liability through the use of notes payable. Offering costs seem to be eating into the mandatory dividends, which doesn't leave much to shareholders down the line. It's concerning that they are not breaking even here, so where is their value proposition? Digging deeper, CCD is showing a change of loss to investors despite the change in unrealized appreciation on the markets. Should we expect more decline in the following months? Alright, so wrapping all that up, Calamos long-short equity and dynamic income trust has a lot going on. They are banking on a risky high-reward short strategy to keep things afloat and keep steady dividends for the investors. This leads to large amount of debt from notes payable and could result in trouble for the company overall if conditions do not go their way. What do you think about it? Is Calamos long-short equity and dynamic income trust a risky bet? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out how the family of Calamos funds might be failing from the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching.